Yo, how's it going everybody? It's Sketch and welcome back to the channel. And on today's episode we're looking at the Super Nintendo port of the Combatribes. Released for arcades in 1990 as a 3-player beat-em-up developed by Technos, received a port to the Super Nintendo in 1992. It keeps most everything intact from the arcade version while it does have a few minor and major changes. In spite of the couple things missing, it's still an awesome arena brawler from the team that developed Renegade and Double Dragon. The story is pretty simple. 3 vigilantes fight across a futuristic New York City in efforts to get to the leader of the syndicate, and after completing each stage it offers up a little more information as to who's running the show. The SNES port also features cutscenes which help narrate the story with some pretty 90s action style dialogue. Gameplay wise, this is very similar to Double Dragon aside from just the look of the sprites. Each stage is essentially a long arena, kind of akin to Violence Fight, and where instead of scrolling left to right to progress, the whole encounter is bound to a multi-screen board. The arcade version had throwable weapons like motorcycles and pinball machines that you could just straight up lob at enemies, but those were removed for the Super Nintendo version along with the team-up attacks. The combat, even with that omission, is still pretty fun though, with your choice of 3 characters: Berserker, the balanced character, Bulova, the tank, and Blitz, the slightly weaker but more agile fighter of the lot. You get a variety of ways to pummel your enemies, with clotheslines, drop kicks, 12-6 flying elbows, and even grabbing some of these scrubs by their ankles and giving them a good old spin on the pain merry-go-round before hurling them into a crowd or nearest obstacle. Enemies are pretty varied between levels and each being themed and in a unique location. This aspect of the game drums up a real Warriors vibe considering you're clapping cheeks across the city, and boss fights are the main obstacle besides the waves of ads in each stage. The first boss, while pretty powerful, is pretty easy to figure out, but as the game progresses, bosses get a lot faster and a lot more cunning in how they can beat your face in, with the quickness mind you. Once you figure out their tactics and which character kind of gels the most with your playstyle, you'll be cruising in no time, but expect a bruising along the way. Graphics wise, sprites are huge with a fairly bright color palette, and backgrounds are also pretty well detailed. The nightclub level is pretty sick, along with the boss rush battle while ascending the enemy penthouse. The sprite work again is pretty reminiscent of Double Dragon, with enemies having a fair bit of animation, and the stages themselves are also pretty colorful and varied, so everything looks and runs pretty well here. There's also the graphics bits that were censored for the Super Nintendo port, like the neon bar sign in the first stage, removing all alcohol references, and the blood being changed to sweat, much like the first Mortal Kombat on Super Nintendo, and the cyborg general whose name was changed, well, for pretty obvious reasons that I can't show in this video, but let's just say Master Blaster is a lot better than the original name. The Virtual Console release will also be censored even further to change the name of the stage Ground Zero to Guilty Zero instead. Sound wise, there's some pretty sick tunes pretty much off the rip. The stage with the biker gang is probably one of the best opening tracks in a beat 'em up game, and the following stages also keep the intensity aside from the high rise section, which chills the music out at least up until the last 2 boss encounters. The combat sounds are also pretty solid here too, with some crunchy impact sounds when fist and feet connect. Smashing skulls never sounded so good on the Super Nintendo. Overall, Combatribes is an awesome beat 'em up, and it's even better played co-op. The action is over the top, and once you get comfortable with the controls, the game really gets fun with how you can link attacks together and just wipe the floor with waves of enemies. Combatribes gets an 8.5 out of 10, and it comes highly recommended to beat 'em up fans and action game fans. It's a fun one to pick up every so often, and it also offers up a solid challenge that'll keep you coming back. And if you made it this far into the video, thank you. If you can find these videos helpful, that's awesome. Glad you can also use it as a resource. Check back often. We'll have more reviews and video commentaries coming up in the near future. But until then, stay safe out there, take it easy. I'll see you on the next one.